Welcome, welcome. I believe we are live. Anybody's there, put a thumbs up or any kind of good morning. Good morning to you. Welcome. Today is going to be another Q&A. Similar to last week, I'm just going to cover some comments on the channel, and then I'll give some live responses. And then if you have any questions, we'll just take them in the chat and we'll go from there. Let's see. Everything seems to be in order. Let's go to the comment section. Looks like we're good. Comments in reverse order, most recent to the farthest recent. Mo, SEALA-X1B says, thank you. Isn't it wonderful? I am forever blessed. Yes, it is wonderful. I agree completely. That was on a short called The Power of Thankfulness in Manifestation. Same user on Deny Your Senses to Manifest Your Reality, which is an amazing short, says, amen, never accept the suggestion of lack. Never concede a loss, so says Joseph Murphy. I've never read Joseph Murphy, or at least not yet, and I agree if he says that, he's right, hitting the nail right on the head. And wasn't he the guy that also learned from Abdullah? I think it's the same guy. If it is, remind me. But yeah, I think that is. He's no longer with us, right? He was much older, but he was doing great work as well. But I haven't read him yet. I look forward to it. Exploring the Fourth Dimension, A Glimpse Beyond Reality is a short, and Jack P0THI wrote that relates to the question, who do you say I am? We covered that in our 5 lessons, which is a great way to look at the question itself. Who do you say I am? Who do you say I am? I'm only going to find a reflection of myself through you. It's never going to be any different than that. You're never going to will a reflection. You're going to be a reflection. You are going to be a reflection of me. I'm not going to make you be. I don't want to use the wrong words here. I'm only ever going to see myself through you. Whom do you say I am is another way of saying, what do I say I am? Because it happens in here first, then it's reflected. I love it. It's a very deep comment on some different levels. On the short, Unlocking Dimensions, The Power of Your Mind, Pebbles 193 writes profound, and I agree completely. We're not going to break down the shorts. We're just going to go through the comments, have some fun with them. This is a good comment. Who is Seth, on a short called Exploring the Fourth Dimension, A Glimpse Beyond Reality? And my response, if anybody's not familiar with Seth, Seth is a non-physical teacher channeled by Jane Roberts. This was my response, and I'll try to expound on it. If you're not familiar with Seth, Jane Roberts started channeling Seth after her first out of body. In her kitchen, she went from where they were seated at a dinette. She went into the windowsill, or I think she was doing dishes, one or the other. She went into the windowsill, into a nail on the windowsill, and her consciousness went there. At that point, she was like, what is this all about? Her and her husband started buying books on ESP, trying to delve into understanding this concept. And before she knew it, very, very intuitive, sensitive woman, Jane Roberts, she started channeling this entity called Seth. Well, basically, they started playing with a Ouija board, and this voice came through, and that's how they met a personality through that board. And then from there, the communication started happening, and then she started getting the communication intuitively, and that non-physical personality was called Seth. That's what he said. They said, what should we call you? He said, you can call me Seth. And Seth, S-E-T-H, is the teacher, non-physical personality who channeled through Jane Roberts. Robert Butts, the husband of Jane Roberts, ended up writing down verbatim what Jane was saying while she was channeling, intuiting Seth talking. So they'd have subjects or questions, and then he would just come at these different angles, and he would say, we were in this life, we were friends in this life together. You don't remember me? This kind of conversation just started growing and growing and growing. By the time they had 500 sessions together, Seth then started dictating his own book, and the first book of the Seth material It's called Seth Speaks. There's 8 books dictated by Seth through Jane Roberts, but there's multiple other books written by Jane Roberts, like, for instance, the Seth Material, which was the first book in the series of Seth books, or in the series of Jane Roberts books. She has a lot of fiction work that I was able to finally, in about the year 2000, when eBay was so fresh and new, and you could buy an autographed Jimi Hendrix album, you could buy so many things in about the year 2000 on eBay. It was amazing. So I was able to find all of Jane Roberts' early writings. They were all pocket back, hip back, small books you could fit in your back pocket. I found them all except for one, and that one was only unobtainable because there's about 8 of them. That one was only unobtainable by Jane Roberts because it had that movie Charlie, if you remember, where the R is backwards in the title. That was in the same book. So that made it a bestseller for people to want that book because of that screenplay. That story was in that book. So that was the only one I never found. So I have all of her work, literally. The Red Wagon, as far as fiction work, her early work, I think it's called The Red Wagon. What a wonderful, I think it's one of her first books. What a wonderful fiction tale. It's very cool. It's very much on the reincarnation theme, which she ended up later getting involved with Seth, and then he taught about that whole concept of reincarnation, multidimensional realities. So that's who Seth is, and I'm glad to break that down a little bit. And they ended up channeling Seth from 63 when she had her first out of body, and then he dictated Seth Speaks, then The Nature of Personal Reality, then 8 total books, ending with, I believe, The Magical Approach or The Way to Health, The Way Toward Health. One of those when Jane was sick in her later years. So Seth taught very deep teachings on consciousness and reality creation. His main message was you create your own reality, which aligns perfectly with Neville's law of assumption, or when Neville says imagination creates reality. Basically the same thing. You have 2 teachers teaching the same thing in that whole concept. Both point to imagination as the true creative power. For me, when I discovered Neville, it was basically a crown jewel on top of an entire body and decades of work that I had done with the Seth Material, including studying it with my teacher very deeply, and then also we would teach it in classes at my house, in meetup groups, and we would have groups, study groups. It was a very profound time learning what Seth is teaching. You get that wired into your neurons on an inner level, then you come across Neville, and Neville fills in the gaps. Any gaps you might have, if you're a student of Seth, you would fill in a lot of groundwork as far as how to remember your dreams, how to come awake in your dreams, out of bodies. All of these things are part and parcel of the Seth Material that then Neville Goddard, who is obviously doing a lot of those things, because you can tell what he says in his lectures, but he doesn't give the explicit instructions as great as Seth, and in the Seth Material, in that whole body of work. You find a lot of that instruction really laid out wonderfully. In that same comment, returning that, who is Seth, that's a pretty much kind of a summation of, I could say. And someone else wrote again after that one, every cross-section of my current life coexisting would be like a snake. That is Jenny Bardoville, 5455. Thank you, Jenny. Okay, the next comment. Next comment was from a short, The True Meaning of Forgiveness. It is finished, wrote, quoted scripture, actually, therefore, if you are offering your gift at the altar and there remember that your brother or sister has something against you, leave your gift there in front of the altar. First go and be reconciled to them, then come and offer your gift. It's very fascinating. My response was exactly that verse shows the same truth. The short clip was titled The True Meaning of Forgiveness. And as we all know, forgiveness is when you imagine lovingly for anybody, including yourself. When you imagine lovingly seeing somebody in their new success, seeing a relative get their new opportunity, or yourself and your new wealth or your new love, that's imagining lovingly. That's also called forgiveness in Neville's vocabulary. Large part of studying Neville and getting through this understanding and how to apply Neville's teachings is the vocabulary piece. Forgiveness It means to imagine lovingly. Sin means missing the mark. Revision is the same as redemption. So if you have the word redemption, it means in action when you're going to redeem, it's revise. You're changing the memory in your mind of what happened, thereby redeeming the event. The Neville vocabulary is very, very important piece of all this. I said real forgiveness means full release until it is settled in the heart. The gift of prayer is not complete. As Neville taught, forgiveness is to imagine lovingly. Just got to love that instruction from Neville, to imagine lovingly. Next, short, unlocking dimensions, the power of your mind. Till and Sia-MK wrote, be still and know I am God. Got nothing left. Don't give it to mind. Be still and know I'm God is the best. It's the best. It's really kind of that beginning. If you're in a place where things are where you're nervous about life, or life doesn't seem to have definition, or you're unsure, what should I do? Who should I be? How do I define my life? The best starting point of everything that Neville instructed is be still and know I am God. Be still and know I am God. Be still, and you can do this right when you're falling asleep. I am God, or I am Jesus Christ. You're going to watch your dreams take a complete change if you do that while you're falling asleep. I promise. And you can come back and type in the comments, because it's guaranteed to happen. You don't even have to try hard. You just say that as you're falling asleep. I am Jesus Christ. I am God. Be still and know I am God. That gets you through the ill-confident moment. And you get a reminder. You're injecting a reminder into yourself of who you are, because he's not going to abandon you. He made you in his image, then went to deep coma sleep in you until either you wake him up or he wakes you up. I think it's a kind of it's a cross-section happening there. He's becoming awake, but you're waking him up when you say, as you fall to sleep, I am God. You're waking him up because he's in you already. He made you in his image. Love these comments. There's so many great ones that come in. I like turtles. Hi from Norway. Well, welcome. I appreciate that. Norway, nice. I've seen the symbol you use for your picture right there. I've seen that before, so you might have changed your name. I like turtles. It's cool. Turtles are amazing. Amazing. It's amazing. Jemmer, I hope I'm saying your name right. Jemmer, hello to Norway from Oregon. Jemmer, nice. We used to live in Seattle, Jemmer, and we used to go down to Portland and do work, and we used to live there for like a month at a time, 6 weeks at a time. Lots of rain. Wonderful. Where were we at? What was the name of those cities? Like Clackamas, Portland. Just so many wonderful cities, so much good food, so many good times working there. Okay, next short called Deny Your Senses to Manifest Your Reality. That is true. You have to deny what you're seeing. You have to shut it down. If I'm going to be still and know I'm God, I have to shut it down. I have to close off my senses. I have to focus on who I am, who I know I am God. I know I am him. I am is all you say to know that. I am. Then who do you want to be? Who's the man or woman you want to be? You want to be married? You want to be wealthy? You want to be healthy? You want to be something that you're not experiencing? Something that's not in what you see around you. You want to be something different than what you see. Then you close these off. Then you stake the claim. I am fill in the blank. Just the first time doing that with your eyes closed, you start the momentum. And it's not taught anywhere, but it is the truth. Neville has abundantly taught us how to do this over and over and over. And we need to use that instruction and start the process one piece at a time. I am, if it's wealth, if it's health, if it's love, you start imagining. Give it a minute one day or 30 seconds. They give it another minute the next day. Give it a 5-minute period the next day. Do it while you fall to sleep. Do it while you're going into your nap. Do it when you first wake up. All of these are priming the pump, getting it going. From I Like Turtles, hello, Oregon. Back to you, Gemmer. Beautiful place. It definitely is. Here's deny your senses to manifest your reality. The comment was the TV programs you think about the CIA created the television. What are the shows called? Programs! Exclamation points. Very, very interesting. If something's going to get you to not use your imagination. Now, remember, here's the place I like to stay when it comes to this subject. This is a great subject. Neville boiled it down to simple terms. If you're not using your imagination, someone else is. Now, if you're not using your imagination and you turn on the thing called whatever, it has a show on it, and then you sit there and look at it, and then every so often, at least in my time, there used to be commercials, depending on what you buy for streaming nowadays, you're going to see some commercials or the show itself. Now, if you're not using your imagination and you turn on a screen, it's going to fill in a gap that you have open that you're not using. So that imagination that you have is getting filled in typically by advertising. Typically. Eat this peanut butter, eat this breakfast cereal, drink this, drink that. Drive down the highway, billboards, commercials, at the beginning and ending in the middle of your YouTube videos if you're not on the premium plan. Constant. If you're not using your imagination, you're leaving it open for the advertising animal to fill in the gap that you have open. The funny thing about the brain is it's constantly imagining. If you open up a book, if you open up The Education of Oversoul 7 by Jane Roberts, it's her first fiction book in the first official series, you're then using your imagination to travel with the story. So you use your imagination. You're using it by reading the book, and the book is filling that space. Now, you're not using that book, and you're just sitting there minding your own business. All of a sudden, you're not thinking about anything in general, and nothing specific, and all of a sudden something comes in and starts to take that space. Now, your imagination is being used, not by you. So whatever is happening here is then going to be reflected out here. Example, the breakfast cereal. We grew up with the commercial. It had a little kid. He didn't like the cereal. He didn't like the cereals, and then his brothers were commenting, and then the mom bought the specific cereal that the commercial was about. I forget what it was, but then the brother said, "Hey, Mikey, he likes it." So their brother started eating the cereal. So this was how crafty the commercials were when I was growing up. So and it was, you always remember this little thing, Mikey, hey Mikey, he likes it. And so this got this tape in your head because it's taking up that space that you're not using. You're using your imagination, great. Imagine the person you want to be. Focus on that, your desire. If you're not using that and it's turned off, even just for the moment, it's going to get filled up by something else. Usually it's in the form of an advertisement, normally. In this case, the commenter was referring to CIA created the television, and the shows are called programs. Of course, all that exists. But if you use your imagination, that doesn't exist. Because you're imagining your desire fulfilled. Now this, Neville says, you have to do all day long. If you're not going to do it, no one's coming to do it for you. This is the sad, enlightening news. It means buckle into the saddle. You don't have to buckle in. Firmly fit yourself on the saddle and get this horse moving by continuously imagining who you are, that you want to be. If you're not seeing that in your surroundings, before you know it, your surroundings are going to show you that new person that you're imagining constantly. So you start to use your imaginations, and these things called programs and agencies that are doing whatever they're doing don't apply to you anymore because you're not giving that any of your attention. Your attention is the most valuable thing you have. It literally is the most value that you possess is your attention. Simply put, where you put your attention becomes. If you put your attention into your desire and imagine you there expressing it, it becomes. So the imagination is very, very powerful, and that's what Neville has come to teach us really well. I always refer to Neville in the present tense because to me he's very present, as well as the Seth material. It teaches you this concept very, very, very well. Some new comments. Gemma responding, so is Norway, though I've only seen pictures so far. So is Norway beautiful? I've only seen pictures so far. 2 of my great-grandparents came from there. I grew up eating lefse, and I don't know if that's what that is. It's obviously from Portland. I like turtles. Lefse is yummy. Marian Gasparini, hi from Buenos Aires. No kidding. Congratulations. Wow. It's nice to hear from people spread out over a long distance. I like turtles. Hola. Yes, hola, Marian. Tariq, hi from Kuala Lumpur. Nice. Wow. Very, very cool. Tariq, that's good to see you again. I think we were talking all week in our 5 lessons. What a great, great setup that 5 lessons was. And make sure my chat is working properly. I believe it is. You guys are seeing me okay, right? Yes, I think it's live now. Okay, just want to make sure my device was showing me the correct thing. Here we go. Okay, next comment. Unlocking Dimensions, the power of your mind. AL Videos 2145. Put a musical note. Great. The true meaning of forgiveness. On that short, Simon-PL2ZI. Put a heart. Heart right back to you. Love begets. Love begets. Love gets, but love begets. Love again on another video. The true meaning of forgiveness from Simon again. Simon again, this channel is fantastic. Thank you very much. I tend to think so as well. I couldn't agree with you more. What we are going to build together is going to be unbelievable. It's an awareness. Any new awareness is an educative process. When you become aware of something new, there's a step of education necessary. If you knew how to play the guitar when you got out of your mother's womb, wow. If you knew how to play the clarinet, which I was taking at lessons in school in 3rd grade, for me, we had music. If you had an instrument, you brought it from home, and you can join the music hour each day or each week. I forget what it was. I think it was each week. And I was learning clarinet, and it was very, very amazing. But just like that 3rd grade kid needed to go through special instruction and go through it step at a time, the same thing we need to do with this new awareness that we're using this information to do for us and to benefit us. Those of us who are imagining lovingly for others could do it for you, but what's in it for you if you don't learn the power within yourself to do it at will for anything in your life? For love, for wealth, for health, for power, for freedom. The top 3 are love, wealth, and health. When you have money, you tend to feel good. Those are kind of like close cousins. But the most important one, as you know, is love. I always try and say, make the priority love. Whatever the priority is to you, that's okay. I'm talking to you from 26 years of being married now. And my highest priority before my wife got together, even as boyfriend, girlfriend, was love. Fail relationship, get back on the bike. Ride the bike, fall and crash. Get back on. Ride the bike, fall and crash. Eventually, I met my teacher, taught me how to stay balanced in relationship concepts. I spoke about this yesterday in day 5 of the 5 lessons. Won't go into it now too deep, but the point is I learned along this process, it was a process of failing, then succeeding. Fall down, get up and try again. I mean, we forget what we did and how many times we fell when we learned to walk. We forget. The memory is very short. If you have parents, you can ask them, how long did it take me to walk and how many times did I fall? Well, Be ready, because you fell a lot. The same thing with this material, with this concept that you create your own reality. Your imagination creates reality. How do we use it? When do we use it? What are the techniques? How do I apply this? How do I get small wins so then I can go for big wins? What are all these little details? Well, this is a new awareness, so it's a new education. You cannot dive into this without the education part. Well, you can. I can imagine for you. Someone else in the comments can imagine for you, and that's great when we do that. We get to eat the fish for the moment, but we want to learn to fish with excellence. We want to be able to do this at will. When I say at will, I mean I'm driving down the street and I want to park right in front of the restaurant. Boom, I see it already. I see it, boom, done. I'm in the Sabbath. I get there, the space is open. All these little things. My friend's going to buy me a cup of coffee. My friend's going to buy me dinner. It doesn't matter what it is. You can make it fun like that. It doesn't matter what it is, but you get into the education of this piece, and that's the hardest part, like anything else you've learned. And you get through that and you start practicing. You start getting these small wins. The small wins where you drop the seed falls out of your hand, you go into the Sabbath, you imagine levelly for yourself or your friend, and those seeds drop into fertile ground. If you have this idea in your mind and you're not dropping the seed, it won't go in the ground and die and then give life. If you're holding on to this thing, this idea, you can't hold on to it. You have to let it go, almost as if you don't care. You imagine it, it's done. You hear the congratulations from your best friend, and then you let it go. Done. I'm not going to hassle it anymore. You're not going to go dig in the ground and see if it's growing yet. That's the steps towards failure, because you're not giving it a chance, as Neville says. Let's go back to the comments. Stephen Nagel, welcome. What are your thoughts on taking action? Is there a role that's needed to play in the 3D? I've had manifestations without action and ones that required it. I guess this part messes me up. I think inspired action, as Neville says, I love his phrase. If you feel inspired, there's no reason why you shouldn't take action. There's plenty great teachers out there that say you must take action. The quote from Seth is that every action changes every other action. What that means is, even if you don't take an action, it's still an action. If I was to stay here right now and not say another word for 60 seconds, for you it's going to get boring. For me, I'm going to be trying to prove a point that I'm in non-action. But then the repercussive action, or the reaction, could be, well, you're going to click somewhere else. Every action has and equals another action. Every action affects every other action. So if you feel inspired to take action on your imagining lovingly for yourself, your new you, if you feel inspired, the inspiration is coming from someplace. You shouldn't be ignoring your own inspiration, because that's you. That's the inside you. So I think action isn't necessary, because, as Neville says, it's in here first. It's in your consciousness. That's where all movement happens, and movement is action. If you imagine yourself as the new you, then you're moving that new you in here, in consciousness. That means it's going to be reflected on the screen of space. So you don't have to do anything but imagine. So you don't actually have to take an action out here as much as you do have to take an action in here. This is where real action equals reality. When you imagine inside in the 4D, which was in our 5 lessons we did this week, day 3, 4th dimension, that's where reality is made. You imagining yourself as the new you is happening in here, it's done. You don't. So to defend Neville's position on that question, which is a great question, don't take any action if you're referring to the how. Inspired action, of course. But if you're referring to the how you're going to get there, I would not touch a thing. Hopefully that answers that question. Ren 70, hi from Central California. Hello, back to you. We were just up there. We were, I don't know where you are, maybe San Juan Capistrano or Santa Barbara, which we're going to be going again in November. We're going up to the wine places up there. Very wonderful weather and times up there. Hello from Kuala Lumpur. Wait, let me make sure I'm on the right place. Ren 70, Central California. Stephen Nagel, I want to get to the point where no action is required. Well, you're already there. You're already there, Stephen, because as I was just describing, I think I already answered this question. No action is required when you do it in the fourth dimension, and that's where we're doing it anyway. Remember, all of this creation, when you close these, you're not seeing yourself reflected yet. When you open them, all of this is reflecting where you are in consciousness. You're only ever looking at your own consciousness. So if you want that to change, whether it's going from a 1986 Yugo to a Ford F-150 truck, the current year 2025 or the new model 2026, whatever it is, you can only change it in here, then it becomes reflected out here. New relationship, your bank account. This wonderful example, I was cutting up a short last night or this morning, and this guy that wanted a job, and Neville says, okay, do you know where you'd be working? It should be in the shorts, today's shorts this morning at 5 or after 5 a.m. I was making shorts today. It should be in there, but the guy wanted a job. He knew where he wanted to work. He wanted to make, I believe it was $20,000 a year at the time. He was making 10 or 5,000. And Neville said, you know where you'd work? He says, yeah, I know exactly where I'd work. I know which company, which building. I know which floor. And Neville asked him, where would you hang your hat? You know where you would do that? Do you know where you would sit? And the guy said, yes, I know exactly where I would go sit. And I would do these things for the company. Now, I hope I don't mix two stories because there's a couple stories, but basically, the guy imagined, as Neville asked him these questions, the guy imagined in here, in 4D, where he would be had he had the job and the salary and all these other things. Well, the guy went and got the job within a week or two. He was working with the salary, and then they sent him, I believe this is the story where he was an engineer and he was involved with that company to go out and build bridges across internationally. But Neville was trying to get him to understand that he just used the law to accomplish this goal, but from that point, once he got the job, then he completely forgot about the law. This happens. We get amnesia. That guy that was sleeping on the ground, hearing the oil bubble up, his wife would say, where were you last night? What happened? He was sleeping on his own land, hearing the oil. He was using God, his imagination. Your imagination is God. This guy was sleeping on the ground, imagining the oil. The oil came because he was imagining it. He was using, and he had found God. His imagination created the wealth, became a millionaire, multimillionaire. This is a long time ago, early 1900s, early 20th century. Then he forgot that he knew God. That's how he created his wealth, but he forgot. Then when Neville encountered him, he was a lonely man. He was bored. He had the money, but he didn't have his connection to how he got there. He forgot. So once this guy got the job that Neville was instructing him on how to imagine it, then he went out there and for 5 years, I believe. And then he all of a sudden didn't get up for work one day. And that was it. He was gone from this world. But even though Neville was trying to get him to see that he was using the law and he could use it even more, he was not interested. He completely, selectively just forgot how he got to where he got, made it 5 years, and then it was gone. So your opportunity here is to learn the law and then to continuously lose it. I'm sorry, to continuously use it, not lose it. My mind's racing. So the idea is you get into this education step for a reason, so you can learn to use it and hold on to the idea of how you're using it, how you're getting the parking space. How did that one work and that one didn't? And why is it the easy ones that I drop out of my hand, why do they work so fast and so simply when I imagine a parking space, for example, or climbing a ladder? And why is it these other ones don't happen? Well, the other ones, you're emotionally attached to the outcome. You can't let go because you want it so bad. You can't be tied to the outcome. You have to let go as easily as you let go of the small ones. This is the piece we're going to understand. You have to let go of the big ones like the small ones. If like climbing the ladder, getting the parking space, somebody's buying you a cup of coffee, or you see a blue butterfly, whatever it is that you're manifesting to prove it works. Okay, let's see here. Pray soon. Good to see you. Good morning. Hi, Gilbert. I didn't know you were doing a live session today. Good to see you. Good to see you too. Welcome back. Tanya Flowers. Yes, a Saturday live. Right back to you. Thank you. Tariq. Neville taught to be effortless in our imaginal acts, and too much effort can be the cause of failure. Too much effort equals holding on, because that too much effort is you're emotionally involved. You got to get your emotions out of this. Even though they're heavily invested. I mean, I got to pay the rent. I got to get married. I got to get my ex back. I got to get rid of this. They said there's something on my skin and it's not good. No, whatever it is, when it's emotional impact, it's not easy to part with, but you have to. You have to pretend. It's as simple as the small ones. You have to pretend that. How do we determine when we have crossed the line between effort and effortlessness? I think it's exactly what I've been describing. These are just two trinkets on my desk. This one's real light and small, easy to drop, doesn't mean anything to me. Effortless. This one takes effort even just to let go of because it means so much. The meaning of this one has more impact in here. But we have to get to a place where we let go as easily as this other guy. We have to use our mind in a way where we see them all. And that's why starting small is so important. The parking space, the bouquet of flowers, the cup of coffee, the certain colored butterfly, climbing the ladder. All of these are a beginning and have the biggest impact on where you're going to end up and how you're using the law of assumption. You have to see the small ones as wins. They're very, very big wins. If you get that parking space right in front, if you get that carton eggs out of the store when you walked in and they had no eggs, and you went and witnessed that they had no eggs, but you were convinced when you walked in that you were walking out with eggs, the last second the gal's going to come running up and tell you, we got the eggs here, before you walk out, because you saw yourself walking out with them. All these seeming miracles are you. You're creating them in real time. And as we were talking about a minute ago, when we talked about the television comment, we have to realize there's a lot of noise coming at us. And if we're not going to use our imagination, something's going to go in there and fill up the space. And there's a lot of noise. What do we got out there? TikTok. What do we got out there? Facebook. What do we got out there? YouTube feed. The YouTube feed itself. If you really want to clean up your situation, turn off your history. Turn off your history in YouTube and on this channel, on this device, on this platform, I mean, and you'll see, wow, I'm only here specifically because I'm imagining what I want to learn how to change my brakes today. So I go to YouTube and how do you change the brakes on this car? And there you find the video because you're using your mind, searching for an answer, finding the answer, culling it out of there, and then shutting it off. Now you've got your focus. You're going to out there and we're going to work on the brakes. You go there, you find out how to cook a certain steak a certain way or whatever it is, a recipe, type it in. But when you leave the history on, it's just all this noise and it's a bunch of great stuff. There's great stuff on there. Oh, look at that. Look at that. But remember, you're letting it fill in your imagination space. You have to fill it in with what's your desire, with what you want to manifest, with what you want to experience. If you let this stuff fill it in, there's great stuff, all small interest and high interest, but it's going to take up the space that is worth gold. Lots of gold. Great question, Tariq. Ren 70, is that breathing technique of Neville's necessary or can imagining alone be enough? Imagining alone, Ren, is enough. You don't need the breathing technique. I'm only pushing it on the end of the videos because of Neville's recent exposure of it. So I'm like, because it's so counterintuitive. And I believe it only exists the way Neville describes it because it is more of like a, bring it to a height, like let it be an eruptive concept, like, and then you build it up to an explosion. Then it feels like it's going out from you, like a balloon popping. It feels like there's an expression of it, like it's going out into space. So, but you don't need that. Imagining is enough for sure. Good question. Jemmer, just found you this morning. Look forward to hearing more from you. Thank you for your wisdom. You're very welcome. Thank you for hanging out and stopping by. I think you just had a second comment. Buenos Aires, Kuala Lumpur, Central California. It's beautiful to see all of you from Jemmer. Yes, thank you for that. I agree. It's a wonder. Let me see, why did I click there? There we go. Pray soon. What are your thoughts on excuse me, on continuous affirmation in mind throughout the day, like I am very successful over and over again? Do you think it's a good thing to do? Robert A. Millikan, who was a very famous electrical engineer, became famous. When he wasn't famous, the high school is just down the street. I have a high school in my town called that same name. It's named after him. He went into, I want to say it was like either 8 hours or 12 or 13 hours. He went into an affirmation place inside of himself and repeated the affirmation. What is it? I have a lavish, steady, dependable income consistent with integrity and mutual benefit. I have a lavish, steady, dependable income consistent with integrity and mutual benefit. I have a lavish, steady, dependable income consistent with integrity and mutual benefit. Listen to the words. I just said them 3 times. Those words are wonderful packed together. This was before he was known, before his electrical engineering concepts were becoming part of something important. He did this for, I think it was 13 hours. And this is a story that Neville gives us. In one of Neville's lectures, he talks about Robert A. Millikan. And when he did that, because he's talked to the man, I believe, or somebody that knew him, somebody that just interviewed him, I believe it was. But either way, Robert A. Millikan used that affirmation for hours on end. All he was doing was convincing himself, which is what an affirmation is. I agree with your question, and my answer is yes, absolutely. Robert Millikan is a great example, and it's proof positive. He ended up becoming famous for some electrical engineering concepts or things that he was into with his profession or his degree, electrical engineering. So it went a long way for the man. So yes, I am very successful. I love it. Yes, over and over and over. I have a lavish, steady, dependable income consistent with integrity and mutual benefit. The integrity and mutual benefit piece is very much the golden rule. The integrity is covering you, and the mutual benefit is covering what you do. So it's a very good one. You might want to consider that one. Ren 70, Prasoon, that's called robotic affirming. Yes, it is called that. Ren, hi, Jamer. Thank you. Tariq, wonderful to see you too. Jamer from Oregon. Let me see if I can scroll this properly. Jamer, Prasoon. Okay, let me make sure. There we go. Prasoon, I agree with Ren 70. Avoid robotic affirming, vain repetition spoken of in the Bible. See, there's 2 sides to this. It's very good that we're bringing this up. Remember, feeling is the secret. Robert Millikan, this is a very good point, more than likely was using the whole feeling with that. And Neville wouldn't have made it a point, I don't believe, if it wasn't about feeling feeling primarily. And Robert Millikan's example is what it is. We can take from it and use it, or we cannot. Now, there are people that don't believe in affirming or think that it's, like it was robotic, like in the Bible, which is this is a great battle in this community. I believe if you are able to write down, my notepad's on another place. If you write down goals and you're writing down goals and you see them happening, it worked for you. Should you stop? I believe if you make a vision board and in that 1 year you made the board, 90% of the things on there happened. Should you stop? To me, whatever gets you what you're after and it works, I would say don't stop doing that. In this particular place we are meeting at, which is the Neville concepts, we're trying to use it all in here primarily. In here, which means you don't need to use this. You don't need to, well, when you're imagining, you're not really talking. When you're imagining, if I'm imagining for somebody when I'm getting off the freeway and they're holding up a sign and I'm hearing them and I'm seeing the smile in my mind and they're telling me about their new life and we actually hug, that is a complete imagining. One time, not repetitions. The one time I do it and then I forget it, I go into the Sabbath as I'm driving away and then I don't see them again. It's the only way for me to prove that it worked, because I don't see them again, ever. Like never, ever. Because what happened in me, I became persuaded here that they went and assumed their new opportunity. And in celebration, when I last saw them up here, we were hugging. We were touching in my imagination. The imagination is the all-powerful end-stop place. Is what it is. Ren 70, letting go of the big ones is difficult. Yes, it is. It's very much, very, very difficult. You got to pretend. You got to pretend the small one is the big one and the big one's the little one. So the ones that don't matter, you can hold on to them. It doesn't matter. But the big one, you got to treat it just like the little one. Just drop it. Let it go. You got to just let it go. The reason it's difficult, Ren 70, is because you're emotionally attached to the outcome. It's the emotions in you. And what are we talking about when we're talking about Neville? The feeling is the secret. Well, feeling is emotion. They're pretty much, they overlap one another. Hopefully you can still hear me. Yeah, my mic. Okay, so feeling is the secret. Emotion and feeling are very close. So when you're emotionally attached to the outcome, that makes it difficult to let go when you're trying to practice this art. It's difficult to let go of it. So remember that you're emotionally attached. So you can actually practice to yourself and say, it's like if I'm doing it for the homeless person, it has no impact on my life except for in that moment, I'm giving something of myself to that situation. It doesn't cost me anything. I do it, but I'm not attached to it because it doesn't. If I see him again, great, I might do it again, but I don't see him again. But if I did see him again, then I can go through it again and do it again. But I typically never see him again because I'm not emotionally attached. Best friends I do it for, they call me and tell me exactly what happened. It doesn't impact me what they are going to experience, so it doesn't have an emotional place here. If a friend's telling me he wants to be back to work and I imagine him telling me he's back to work, and then he calls me and tells me he's back to work, I'm happy in here. But it doesn't mean I'm not going to be happy if he doesn't return to work. I just imagine again. I had a friend I did this for over and over, 70 times 7. His number was getting closer and closer down the list to going back to the union. And then he was finally called back. But all those times I was talking to him, he wasn't called back. It was difficult. Waiting. But I didn't give up. I held the faith. I imagined lovingly. And I kept it here. I held it here in faith in me. He's going to be telling me he's already back. He's happy. It's a more relaxed position. It's easier. All these little things were with it. And then it happened. But I wasn't tied to it because each time I did it. So this is a big part. I think this is probably the biggest issue in this law of assumption is that why isn't it happening? I keep doing it for myself, but it doesn't happen. I do it for others and it happens, but I can't. It doesn't seem to be coming alive here. It's because you're tied to the outcome. It means the most to you, but you have to trick yourself to make it seem like the small one. This is a trick. We have to play with ourselves, with our mind. We have to do it as easily as we do the small ones. So how do we get there? We do a lot of small ones. We get the pump primed. I don't know if anybody remembers what it is to prime a pump. To get a pump moving a fluid, you had to try and, like, if you were going to siphon gas out of a car when you were a teenager, I don't know if you ever did that kind of thing. You put the hose in a gas tank and you sucked on the hose to get the gas flowing. And then once it starts flowing, you're spitting it out so you can put it into your mini bike or whatever you were going to put it into, a can or whatever, to steal the gas, to take it from your family's car to put it into your mini bike. Not that I ever did this kind of thing, but you suck the hose to get the gas flowing. But once it's flowing, you put the hose right into the gas can, and now the hose is just flowing. You're going to do all these small manifestations, the parking spot, the free cup of coffee, the blue butterfly, whatever it is. We got to get the flow going. We got to start experiencing examples of it. If you go straight for the big one, my ex, I need him or her to text me back. My ex, I need to be in love again with them. Why are they not calling me? My ex, my ex, my ex. Or I don't have anybody, I need somebody. I want this to be that person. There's a large thing you're trying to conquer right there when you've never primed the pump. It's like me sticking the hose in there and then I put it in the gas can and there's nothing flowing. Well, you probably do need to get home and put the fuel in your motorcycle from the abandoned car, whatever. The point is, if you're not going to do anything on a small level and see it work, how are you going to then go to the bigger and bigger? Because when you go straight for the big one, not so easy. And this is why all of the I've tried and I tried, but it's not working. Or the people that want to give up right away. They're going to go bounce to something else. That's probably not going to work as well because they're not going to stick with it. This material, like I say in my few videos, how much I think this is worth it. If you put the effort in, if it took you 2 years, if it took you 2 months and you have a very creative mind, if it took you 20 months, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Typically, when you're learning something very difficult like this, it's typically going to be in the 2 to 3 year mark. And I've heard a lot of those creators out there on YouTube talk about that same amount of time. So you have to take it for what it's worth. If it takes you 2 years to master this, or 18 months, or 30 months, whatever it is, 36 months at the outside, because you want to focus and get this down, so what? Guess what's going to come after that? Everything's going to come after that. Like the whole enchilada, everything is going to come after that. So you have to see this education piece. It's very necessary. When I say the word education, I just mean do the small things first. Do the inconsequential things first that don't seem to matter, but they make a big difference. Huge difference. Okay, let's see if where I'm missing some. My comments go by, and I want to make sure I'm letting go of the big ones is difficult. I think that's where we were, I believe. Yes, I agree. Jamer, by the way, my Bible now is the Neville collection. I get it, man. That's mine totally. 1 hour a day in that book with focus and feeling for sure will change your life. I wish every one of you the fulfillment of your every dream. Thank you, Jamer. You too, very much the same, right back at you. If you read, one way to get your mind in control and the thoughts, because 2 things we're trying to conquer here, thoughts and feelings. When we get those in our control, and let's say you don't have those in control, but you want them to be in control, the best way is to literally take a book. I got so many books here, but they're kind of buried under stuff. If you take a book, like a Neville book, like you were referring to there, here's the one am I just finishing? Yeah, I'm just finishing this one. Where am I? I got that much left to go on the lectures I'm reading. But if you take any book and just read 15 minutes in the morning, right when you wake up, house is quiet, get up a little earlier, a tiny bit earlier than you have to for work or whatever you're doing, 15 minutes. That's all you have to do. There's a very fast story, and I'll bring my brother on here to prove it if you want. But several years ago, I don't know, maybe 15, maybe 20, maybe 15 or 20, my brother was at his job, and he says, I don't like it, I'm going to quit. I go, wait a minute. I go, what is the most valuable thing at your workplace that they probably wouldn't get rid of you if you were that guy? And we ended up talking about the safety guy. You always got to have a safety guy. And my brother's a welder. He was working at a welding company. And I says, I'll tell you what, if you were to read 15 minutes a day, only 15 minutes, no more, on that subject of safety and all of the other little intricate things that go along with where you're working, because there was no safety guy. So he just said, okay, I'm going to do that. I guarantee you that once you become valuable in that subject, they're going to want to keep you no matter what. He started reading 15 minutes a day. He's got all these regulations that go along with. He works in the industry where they take fishing boats and turn them into luxury yachts. He was a welder in there. Now he's the safety guy in there. So 15 minutes a day for several months. Then he's in a situation where the company needs to have these certain things done, and they don't know who to go to. My brother already learned it all because he was only reading 15 minutes a day for several months. And I believe it was Brian Tracy that said, if you read 15 minutes a day, you will be a leader inside of your field within, I think it was either 6 months or 1 year. And he goes, you'll be in the top 1% within just a few years, like the top 1% in the world of a subject, if you just took 15 minutes every morning. So the results my brother got were creating a position within the company he was at, and then being the gold standard for that position just by reading 15 minutes a day. Now that's using the 15 minutes a day in the career advice, but what does it do for you? How does it actually work? It's creating a comprehension skill set at the same time that you don't even realize that's happening. So if your mind's willy-nilly and you can't seem to focus, you can't seem to get the concentration going in one direction, 15 minutes in the morning, right when you wake up. Doesn't matter what it is. I recommend a book, not a device, not a screen. Call me old school. Books is... How hard is it to be distracted? If I'm on a page, I can only see the page. If I'm on a device, there comes text messages, there comes emails, there comes notifications, there comes all kinds of stuff. Well, I'll turn my notifications off and go in airplane mode. No, you won't. You won't do it. So you need to get a book and read 15 minutes every morning, and you will be amazed at a short time that the clarity is just going to start balancing. Instead of all these spikes of brain activity, you're going to have a calmness come over you and a comprehension. You start to understand it deeper. You start to understand many sentences together versus just one at a time. I promise you it works that way. It's very wonderful the way it works. Pretty soon, I think I read this, let me make sure I did, is impressing our subconscious every time for everything necessary. I have seen several things happen just after I desire it. These things have been insignificant though. That's priming the pump. Those are the small things that are necessary. Even though they're insignificant, they equal the big time. And I believe, pray soon, just before that, you said to Ren 70, thanks. Stephen, I thought Neville said when he talks about feeling, he didn't mean emotion and meant awareness, sense of having, a surety, knowing, but still used emotion to get there, explosion and relief. It's very true. Neville does say specifically that it is about feeling. The funny thing about here is as you cross Neville's work and words with the Seth material's work and words, and how they both have their meanings or their use of words, Neville says the imagination creates reality. Imagination is a mental, which is nice and simple. It's very much, okay, let's just imagine. Nice and easy. In the Seth material, Seth says your beliefs, thoughts is imaginations, and emotions, the way you feel. So he covered it with 3 words. Thoughts is mental. Beliefs is after you repeat that, it becomes a belief, like my 4-way stop sign example. And then your emotions is feeling it. So Seth gives us the instruction in a 3-layer so you can kind of get there quicker. Neville, to me, is more clear. But I agree with you that the imagination, you literally can just stop right there. Hopefully that answers that point you made. It's a very, very good point. The explosion and relief is fascinating. Let me make sure I'm scrolling this correctly because it seems to scroll too far. Where did you go? There we go. Okay. Jemmer, Pretty soon, this insignificant, easy little things come easily because we have no resistance to them in our subconscious. Our belief is what settles them in our subconscious. I agree with you, Jamur. Shielded by grace, welcome. Walk by faith and not by sight. Got that scripture at the front of my journal. It is a very good one, isn't it? I mean, what do we have when we close these? All we have literally is the faith of what we want to experience next. We feel it into real when these are closed because you're not distracted by the noise. Very, very good one. Tariq, would you recommend asking another to imagine for us if we are too emotionally attached to a situation? Why not? Of course. I mean, if you have a friend that either understands this that we're talking about or is willing to pitch in, yes. Why not get there? When two or more are joined in my name, right? When two are gathered in my name, of course, definitely. Now you have two witnesses. Two witnesses is all you need. You'll be amazed at what the result will be. Ren 7E. So feeling and emotion are separate things? ? We need to feel something is done, but yet be detached emotionally. I know I did say they were close, right? Emotion and feeling. When you're emotionally attached to the outcome, it's kind of the same because it's the word emotion. But the point being is that when you feel this outcome is so important that you can't live without it, it won't leave like a seed in your hand to the ground because you're so busy looking at it. You're so busy paying attention to if it's going to happen or not. There's an emotional impact, means I will feel better if this happens. Over here, it doesn't matter how I feel if it happens or not. This is being impersonal. I'm not attached emotionally to the outcome. Both of them have an emotional kind of value, but feeling makes it real. If I feel that the person telling me they have a new job, a new opportunity, a new place to live, they're driving a car now, someone's even cooking their food, they couldn't be happier, and they're telling me that, and I let go of it that easy, and I congratulate by high-fiving or hugging, it completely is done. It's even left me. I guess I should say where I learned this concept was with my teacher. When she was teaching me numerology, palmistry, tarot, well, I would learn the numerology and the palmistry and the tarot. That was easy because it was writing it down on a piece of paper, or the cards, you would learn to read those, and then there was the palm. Well, once I looked at someone's hand, then I saw dates and I saw events, and I'm like, whoa, I got too emotionally attached because I was too close. Now, if I wrote down on a piece of paper your information, and then I gave you that when we were done talking, done. But when I'm looking at your hand, I saw too much, and then I got right in there like opening a window into your soul. So for me, I was like, I can't be that close. So my teacher taught me that you let go of it by giving them the paper, shuffling the cards. So I learned that lesson really early about not being attached. So oftentimes I might not remember things you tell me. I try my best, but because I let go and I detach. If one of you says something and I imagine it lovingly for you, I have to let go of it. Like the homeless person on the off-ramp on the freeway. If I don't let go of it, then I become emotionally involved. If I become emotionally involved, now then I'm concerned with the outcome. Do you think the outcome is going to happen if I get emotionally involved? I'm going to try and rely on that outcome. So you have to let that go. And as you practice this with the small things, you'll see this in action. And I hope this makes sense. Shielded by grace, walk by faith and not by sight. Yes, I think I'm repeating. Let me see if I can scroll to my correct place. Shielded by grace. Imagination is easier with scripting for me. Wonderful. I act as if I am dramatizing at home or wherever. Great. It's really cool. I played teacher growing up mostly every afternoon with my classmate, LOL. We both are teachers for over 10 years. Isn't that funny what we do as kids? When I was in 5th grade, I had a girlfriend. Her name was Dawn, and a guy friend, and I forget who this boy was. I'd be the stuntman. I'd go down the sidewalk over here, and I'd come on my bicycle, and I'd crash into the grass. Well, Don played nurse, and I forget his name. He would be the doctor. So I'd pretend I was hurt. I was victim. Later, I would see I was playing victim. And then I got through that with my teacher very good, though. I promise you. So I'd be a victim, then they would take care of me. And we were we were fifth grade. I mean, wow. Later on, I would feel like a victim in life, and then my teacher whipped that out of me. Like Abdullah whipped Neville into shape. My teacher did the same thing for me. But yes, I get it. Congratulations on being a teacher. It's a wonderful profession. Jamur, shielded by grace. That's a perfect example. Yes, it is. Shielded by grace comes back. It is. My daughter used to laugh at me when she first saw me acting as if. That's really cool. Now she has gotten so used to it. I rush to my phone as if I'm on a business call. Then I call my husband. Creating. Dr. Joe Dispenza's meditation has helped me massively, just staying emotionally grounded. I do it twice a day. Great example. I do it twice a day. Means I am putting effort into it. We're going to talk about this for an hour. It's been an hour. I don't know how long we're going to go, but are you going to be ye a doer? Are you going to be ye a hearer only? You want to be ye a doer for sure. Great example, shielded by grace. Wonderful. If you're going to practice it, you're going to see the results. You have to weave it into your life each day. Believe me, meditation is not the easiest thing in the world. Closing these when you're so used to having them open, all that distraction and noise, but you have to close these sometimes, especially during your day. Ren 70. Thank you for that, shielded by grace. That was a great example. Ren 70. If people are imagining negative things for us, does that have an actual effect like imagining lovingly? And as Neville described it, it's in the beginning videos, the law videos. The golden rule is the only rule. So if you wish upon another only good, like loving things, and they don't accept it, then that love bounces back to you. Now, if you wish negative on somebody, and they don't accept it because they're not there, and they don't accept what you sent, it's going to come back to you. So, in the same way, if someone else is imagining negative about you, and you don't accept it, they get their dish served back to them, normally cold. Only if it resonates with you will you let it happen in your world, the negative that they send. That means if you accept it. If you are thinking negative of someone else, no doubt they're thinking negative of you or talking negative of you. If you're talking bad about somebody, no doubt they're talking bad about you. It's a reflection. But if you're going to talk bad about somebody and they don't even accept it, it's coming back to you in the form of either they're going to talk bad about you or someone else is. Neville's rule is live the golden rule. The only rule is the golden rule to all of this. If you would want to do to somebody what you would want done to you, then agree with it. Somebody wants wealth, you imagine them wealthy, you would want that. Somebody wants to be healthy, you would want that. Somebody wants to be in a relationship and love, married, well, you would want that. So you help them by imagining them when they tell you that. So you're in the golden rule. Hopefully that answers that question. Shielded by grace, your reality is what you believe. Yes, indeed. Jamur, Ren 70, only if it corresponds with your beliefs. Of course, we're all in our own reality. Shielded by grace, thank you. Ren 70, Jamur, I mean if it's not known to us that they're doing it. You guys are talking between each other, but I'm reading them anyway because I can't filter it any other way. Shielded by grace, bless you. Jamur, Ren 70, it matters not, dear one, what anyone sends your way. It's true. If it does not align with your beliefs, believe in your power, and theirs is inconsequential. Very, very true. I'm going to read a couple more comments. We'll go for 90 minutes, hopefully, here. Tech Decarbo 6423 on my short called Deny Your Senses to Manifest Your Reality wrote, senses create language, language create thought, thought create consciousness. Consciousness create me. Who am I? We are just thoughts created by information received by our senses. What do you think? I responded, you're on a roll here, only it's the other way around. The senses don't create in us. The senses don't create us. We create the senses. DeCarbo 6423 doesn't see it that way, but I said the inner is first. That's why the senses are the liars. These are the liars. These are the liars. They can deceive you into believing what not is. That's what I replied. Hence the denial of the senses to change your reality. You deny what you're seeing to become the new you in here first. You have to deny this. You have to just, it doesn't exist. It comes from inside out. Then Tech came back with, we deny our senses, then there is no one to feel inner. We can never feel the thing you are talking about. There is nothing in us who can feel without our senses. We feel because of senses. You will just simplify, die for a minute and come back again without any sense, like sleep. It's called samadhi, where consciousness is dead, like the brain is dead. When consciousness is not there, or either it is there, it has no tools to feel anything. So it's not going to be an argument. I'm not going to come back and argue, but because as we know from Neville, it starts in here, then it shows up out here. It can't happen the other way. It goes from the 4D, it becomes and shows us in the 3D. In the 4D is in here. Then the reflection is in the 3D. If you want proof of that, you look at the ground when you're standing in the sun. There you'll see the 2D shadow. The 2D shadow moves in line with whatever the 3D movement is. They are not discoupled. They are one and the same movement. You can never see your shadow doing something different than your movement in the sun. Okay? Same thing with 4D to 3D. That is the creator of the 3D shadow. The 3D is a reflection of the 4D. You want to make a change that's in your life, that you want to be something you're not, you make the change in 4th dimension. Then the 3D reflects it. We talked about this on Wednesday in our 5 lessons. So the 3D is only ever going to be an echo of what happens here. Now, I appreciate your comment, Tech DeCarbo 6423. Your opinion is it's here first, then it happens in us as a reflection from the 3D. But as Neville instructed, it comes this way. That's the way I'm going to go with, because it makes the most sense, because I see it happen all the time. People who make the change on the inside. I've had friends who were single, and one of them, he says he wanted to be in a relationship. He felt it was time. And he didn't say it explicitly, but we were talking about the subject. Then I talked about another friend where I saw it happen. I was being sly with my story. I says, well, so-and-so, when I think it was a him, when he decided he wanted to be in a relationship, no, I actually told this guy, every time I've seen somebody get into a relationship, it's because they decided that they wanted to be in a relationship. Then before they knew it, somebody around them became their boyfriend, girlfriend. I said it happened so many times. And I saw the wheels turning in his head. Before you know it, he's with this girl that was in our group of friends. And they were together for at least a year or two. I don't think they're together now, but he decided he wanted to be in a relationship. I made the idea in his head that usually it's somebody close. And this happens a lot. Once he decided, then his 3D world, him and that girl became like magnets. So his 3D echoed his 4D. He made a decision inside that then his 3D world reflected. 2D shadow's obvious. It's just the light hitting you on the ground. But this is where it happens to then show up in the 3D. On the inside first, the outside's a reflection, especially with relationship. Unless you want to buy my relationship app. Your reality is what you believe. I hope I'm not missing any. Maybe I am. Dispenza's meditation has helped me massively, just staying emotionally grounded. I do it twice a day. I think we did that. If people are imagining negative things for us, does that happen? I think we already did this one. Reality is what you believe, shielded by grace. Yes, we did. Thank you, shielded by grace. If you're saying thank you to us all, great. You're welcome. Ren 70, Jamur, I mean, it was not known to us, so they're good doing it. This is a good response, Ren. I mean, if it's not known to us that they're doing it, it doesn't matter. The subconscious is connected. It's like a network. It's like a electrical network. The subconscious knows they're doing it. Even Seth, the teacher Seth, taught the same exact thing that Neville says on the same subject. Because you're him. We're all him. So we're all connected already. So yes, they know, or yes, you know. Part of you knows. Not the conscious part, not the 3D part, but the 4D part knows. Hopefully that makes sense. Shielded by grace, bless you back. Jamur, Ren, it matters not, dear one. I think we were already here. Believe in your power and theirs is inconsequential. Yes, thank you, Gilbert and Jamur. You're welcome, Ren 70. Pray soon. I used to live in fear and let negative thoughts control me, but now I've shifted my mindset 180 degrees. Congratulations. The feel-good emotions from positive thinking are enough to keep me going on this path. Wonderful. And how many total dimensions are there? If you're discussing what we're talking about right now, it would be just the fourth. This is reality. The fourth dimension is reality. Excuse me for the finger. This finger represents the fourth dimension. So there's only four. There's only three. There's the one we see on the ground when we're standing in the sun. That's 2D. Like when you're looking at a piece of paper, 2 dimensions. The one we are in that we think we're experiencing when we look around, that's 3rd dimension. Then there's the 4th dimension where reality is. This is reality. The 4th dimension is reality, according to Neville. The 3rd dimension is a reflection of that reality, the same as the 2nd dimension on the ground. The shadow is a dimension of the 3rd dimension reality. But all reality is in this one. I don't want to show the finger alone for obvious reasons. The 4th dimension is where reality is. And where's that? It's when you close these, meditate for a minute, deep breaths. I am. You're in the 4th dimension. You're there when you're sleeping. You're there when you're dreaming. You're there when you're in vision. All that is 4D. When we wake up from this dream, to this place, we're in the 4th dimension. To that place while we're dreaming, this is the 4th dimension. That's the 3rd dimension. Now I'm traveling over into the Seth material right now because that's what that teaches about your dreaming self. Let's see if I can keep my place. I think we're caught up. How many total dimensions are there? Well, that was a good day, and that was some very, very good comments. Let me see if I have another one or two. Here we go. Where do you get such fabulous information was the next comment on deny your senses to manifest your reality short. And I simply responded with, for me, 34 years of study of some pretty awesome teachers. I started in September of 1991 with my teacher, Sylvia. I was with her for 25 years. It's funny, my 25 years was almost a quarter of her life. You know, it's funny, it's because she passed away when I think I was 50. It was half of my life I spent with her as a teacher, as my teacher, and yet I only represented probably a third or a quarter of hers. She lived to 93. I met her when she was 68. And we studied all this stuff. She taught me all the metaphysics, and we studied the Seth material primarily. So then I say in my comment, 25 years with Sylvia Abraham, my teacher. Then we studied Seth for 25 years together, and then 4 more years for me. Then I discovered Ho'oponopono, 2 years of living and practicing that on a really extremely high level. I've seen it's hard to describe the amazing changes I've seen with Ho'oponopono. They're just incredible. Love and gratitude, that's all that Ho'oponopono is. It means in Hawaiian to make right. Ho'oponopono. Pono is right. Ho'opono is to make right. To make something right more. Coincidence about Ho'oponopono is my wife and I's vows. We got married on Kauai, and we had the preacher give the vows and mix together this. We selected from his stuff. Ho'oponopono is in the first paragraph. Wonderful, wonderful coincidence. When I learned that, we were looking at our vows going, wow, it's right here. So 2 years of Ho'oponopono, and then now Neville Goddard since January 1st of 2022. Neville Goddard, hardcore, all the time. Now I'm practicing it on the channel, which is just more of the great. Neville to me is the crown jewel of it all. That's what I said in my comment. And that this clip is from the 5 lessons, and that was the last comment. Then I put a couple links to that. Thank you, Shielded by Grace, for your response in that same comment thread. I need more. He needs more subscribers. Such valuable information. I appreciate that very much. And my expressions, I don't know which ones you're talking about. It could be all of them. But thank you for those compliments. Let's see. I think we're caught up. And I hope it was a good and valuable live for you guys today. Practice. Be a doer, not a hearer only. Be a doer. Anything you heard today, if you can apply one thing. They say on YouTube, make your videos, then fix one thing. If you're going to try and improve your video production or whatever it is, improve one thing, like one thing at a time, and then it incrementally just gets better and better. That's what you're going to do from today's live. You're going to go and put one thing to practice. Just one. I think we're caught up. Pretty soon, last question. How long should we do Ho'oponopono before we see its effects, and how to do it properly? Ho'oponopono is just a piece of Neville. Neville is reminding us about love. Ho'oponopono is simmered down to the smallest part. I love you. Thank you. So you want to practice it today? You're not going to even believe it. When someone's talking to you, anybody, I've done this in person, and it's just like a revision, but it's like you get an instant high level. When someone's talking to you today, face to face, person to person, mano a mano, you just sit there and look at them like this, like I'm looking at you now. In your mind, you're just repeating this. I love you. Thank you. I love you. Thank you. I love you. Thank you. Over and over. Just repeat that in here. Don't use this, and let them talk. You'll be blown away by the change in that conversation. You're giving love, and you're giving gratitude. And as Shielded by Grace just added, gratitude's massive. It's huge. Neville brought us these concepts too, love and gratitude. Isn't it wonderful? That's gratitude. Love. What's the most important thing in the world? Love. So all you're doing is using these two things. So when someone's talking to you today, pretty soon, try it. You're not going to believe the change you're going to see literally in real time in front of you. The person's going to change right there. You'll see it instantly. I have a friend who uses Ho'oponopono when he goes to his customers' houses. He's driving there to go give him a price to do some handyman work. He uses Ho'oponopono when he's driving there. He gives him the work. He says, you don't have to buy from me. This is the price. As he's walking back to his truck, I love you, thank you. I love you, thank you. He practices this. Before he knows it, they're calling him in there to do the work. Just because he's being loving and thankful. Gratitude and love. It works. I do Thanksgiving more than anything, Shielded by Grace. I hear you. You got I love you, thank you, and then with Thanksgiving, which is what we're talking about, but then there's also this other part I want to mention, because you'll see it when you look up Ho'oponopono. You'll see, I'm sorry, please forgive me. So you'll see this, there's a 4-step to some, but I think Morna Simeone used I love you, thank you specifically, as well as Hugh Len. His name was Dr. E. Haleakala Hugh Len. His version is I love you, thank you, I believe, only, and then it grew and morphed into this concept of I love you, thank you, I'm sorry, please forgive me. So these ones, these last two, they add quite a dimension, but you only need the love and gratitude. It kind of covers like a Band-Aid the other ones, big time. John Wick, what's up? What's up, brother? Thanks for stopping by. We are finishing, so you're going to catch it on repeat if you just showed up. We're already basically an hour and a half into it, but I hope, again, that you take one thing from today and just apply it. And if it's I love you, thank you, you're going to be blown away. All right, so I'll see you guys in the next one. I don't know if I'll be doing one tomorrow or not, but again, when I set something up and I have the settings all set, I'd like to take advantage of them, so we might. So if I'm here tomorrow, great. If not, we'll see you on Monday. I'll probably do something Monday, either in the early part of the day or the later part of the day. But tomorrow's live, I'm going to be doing a live for the members. I have a membership on the channel that I'm going to be doing a live for. So if anybody's here, you'll see it live in the membership for sure tomorrow. So if I do another one public, great, I'll do it if I feel compelled. Otherwise, we'll see you guys in the next one.